Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back on the path to the Chapayev. And we're on Tier 5, which means we are on the Tier 5 Budyonny. So let's take a look at our commander, Nikolai Kuznetsov. And Nikolai von Essen as our inspiration with Philip Vian as an inspiration. Beyond range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated as our commander skills with Fully Packed, still. Which, this is going to come in handy. Like, real handy. But yeah. Budyonny, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, and we are fully upgraded, obviously. We have the Alpha Test flag. Again, that means nothing. It doesn't do anything other than just show that I was an Alpha Tester. And then we are running the Type 4 camo, which gives us a 4.5% buff to our concealment, as well as 4.5% buff to incoming fire dispersion. Now, the big thing about the Budyonny is that it is the first ship in the game, I believe, to have gotten radar at Tier 5. It's not a great radar. It's short duration, and it's a pretty low range. So it's 8.1 kilometer range for detection of ships. It is 15 seconds only. So keep that in mind. But it doesn't have that horrible of a reload time either, which means you can generally get multiple radars off in any given match, which means you generally have them available. And having fully packed on gives you an extra charge, as well as if you're near a friendly ship, it makes you recharge your cooldowns faster on your consumables, meaning you get these things off quicker. And we're going to showcase that in this match. Now, we are obviously still running a epic battle booster for a little bit more range. If we take that off, which is what we will, to show you guys what the range is with this build stock. But survivability, 30,800 hit points. Still no torpedo reduction. Artillery, main battery, you get 152 millimeter guns, 57 caliber Mark 5s. You get 9 of those, so little bit less oomph to them. They're not the 7-inch guns that we had prior, but they also reload a lot faster, and the 180 degree time is still 25 seconds. But they fire out to 17.1 kilometers with this build, and they reload in just 8 seconds, meaning they're nasty. 180 degree turn time is 25 seconds, like I said. HE shell maximum damage is 2200 with a 15% chance to set fires. Now, if you're going to run solely for the HE on this thing, you might want to run EOP because these shells tend to shatter on pretty much everything. So you're not going to do a lot of damage, though you do have a 15% chance to set fires. If you run EOP, you're going to cut that 15% down to a 7.5% chance to set fires. Just keep that in mind. AP shell maximum damage, though, 3,564 damage, with secondary armament of 100mm 56 caliber B-54s. You get 6 of those, firing out to 4.7 kilometers and reloading in 3.8 seconds. Firing HE with a maximum damage of 1,400 and a 9% chance to set fires. For torpedoes, you still have like no range on your torpedoes. 533 millimeter PTA 5368 BIS. Yes. You get 2 quintuple launchers, 2 5-torp launchers off either side of the ship. That is massive. Okay? You won't get to use these very often. But when you do, whatever's on the receiving end is about to have a real bad time. We're going to showcase that in this match as well. 116 second reload time, 180 degree turn time is 6 seconds. Maximum damage is 14,400, so still smacking. Those are hurtful for the tier. Torpedo detectability is 1.3 kilometers still, and the torpedo range is 4 kilometers. So again, no range, but if you can get to a point where you can use these torpedoes, it's disgusting. Torpedo speed 65 knots, so they're not slow either. They're not fast, but they're not slow. AA defense, 25mm 2M3s. You get 12 of those, doing 35 damage per second, reaching out to 3.1 kilometers. You get 37mm 46Ks that you get 12 of, doing 37 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And then you get the 100mm 56 caliber B-54 secondaries, dual-purpose secondaries. You get 6 of those, doing 30 damage per second, reaching out to 5 kilometers. Again, AA not that bad on this thing for this early on. Now, obviously, by this time, you're going to start to see better AA elsewhere, but For early game ships, these aren't bad numbers. Maneuverability, maximum speed 35 knots, turning circle 710 knots, or 710 meters, so a lot better than the Kirov, but still leaving a lot to be desired for a cruiser. Rudder shift time, though, 6.9 seconds. So, again, rudder shift on these things, fantastic. So when you're in a kiting position at range and you need to wiggle, you can do so pretty effectively. It's the full turns that cause problem. When you need to turn all the way in or all the way out and you're trying not to get blapped, that's when these things become issues. So keep that in mind. All right, concealment, 12.4 kilometers by sea, which is not good. And remember, we have camo on it and everything, so not good for a cruiser. And then 7.8 by air, 2 kilometers is always guaranteed, and 6.5 kilometers while firing in smoke. Armor, again, we don't have much in the way of armor. We have a 13 millimeter bow. Now, the big problem with that is this is actually less armor than we had in the... crap. Stop it. Thank you. This is less armor than we had in the Kirov. So if we take 13 and times that by 14.3, which is the formula for overmatching, you can find out that you can be overmatched by 203 millimeter guns. Actually, it only takes 185.9 millimeter guns to overmatch you. So keep that in mind. Anything 203 and above can shoot straight through your bow. So you need to know what you're up against, what guns they have. Any battleships whatsoever, they're going to go through your bow, so you got to be careful there. But any heavy cruisers, you're definitely going to want to show the belt to and try to use that armor on the side to deflect some shells. Just keep that in mind. Not particularly tanky. All right, we get rid of that. And we get rid of that, and we get rid of that. We can kind of come over here and look and see that, hello? I lied. That's the deck armor. All right, so we have a 140 millimeter Citadel, right? 115 millimeters on the sides. So, again, it's an exposed Citadel, which we knew going in because there is no torpedo protection on these ships, so the Citadel armor extends all the way to the outside. Again, this usually results in pretty much guaranteed citadels for anything that decides to hit it. However, once again, because it is such a narrow ship, this one a little bit more girthy than the Kirov in terms of width. But because it is so narrow, there is a real likelihood that people overpin you, and we're going to showcase that in this match. So keep that in mind. Sure shot, shells with a good ballistic trajectory. We already talked about that with the Russian cruisers. They have very nice, fast shells that are very flat in trajectory. Long reach, above average main battery range, obviously. And then unwieldy, below average ability to change direction. Now, again, the actual ability for it to turn isn't so bad. Like, it can be shifty at range and dodge shells and stuff, but when you get into those really, really turning situations when you need to dodge torpedoes up close, or if you need to try to get bow in on somebody, or angle your ship rather than sitting broadside, or contrary, you need to come out and be broadside to drop your torpedoes on somebody, you've got to be careful because you're not going to turn nearly as quickly as you would think for a cruiser. A light cruiser built under Project 94, the ship was developed from the Kirov-class warships. Unlike her prototype, she was bigger in size and featured significantly enhanced protection. You could argue against that, actually. But the ship's main guns were smaller in caliber, but had a higher rate of fire. And we already talked about that. She was designed in 1940, but it doesn't say that anything was built. So I'm going to say that it probably wasn't, as is most Russian ships. But yeah, let's take a look at her. Again, a very modern looking design, and with this being designed in 1940, I mean, you would expect that. It also, you can see the Kirov kind of in there. You got a more modern main control tower, conning tower, with still having a tripod mast behind it for spotting. And then, of course, you have the rear tripod mast as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a good looking ship too. Like, I don't hate the Russian cruisers at all in terms of being like what they look like and how they handle. I'm not a big fire starter, but these things can switch to AP just like the Americans and when needed, and actually do pretty decent with the AP as well. So not quite American-esque because they don't have the improved penetration angles that the Americans get, but a pretty solid option up close and personal, as we're going to demonstrate on a battleship. So with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Two Brothers, and we are in the Budyonny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Spartan, you got to go up the middle. Don't worry, we're going to go up the middle, eventually. We're not going to go there right away, because you'll see why. We got to go over to the left, help the left win, and then we can flood back and try to help with the right side, and then we can go up the middle and deal with the rest of the enemies. So, we're not going to do the full Flamba push, but yeah, we are going to eventually go up the middle, so keep that in mind. We're going to have a good time. This is going to be one of those matches that you dream about. I'm not going to lie. This is a absolutely ridiculous match for the Budyonny. And everything kind of lines up perfectly, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how many times I've said I'm not going to lie, but you get the point. But I am not a particularly amazing cruiser player. I can do pretty well in cruisers, don't get me wrong. And I do love my American cruisers. I am very, very decent in my American cruisers. Some would say good in my American cruisers because I know them. I've played them a lot. I have not played the Russian cruisers a lot because I just don't generally like their playstyle. However, I've started getting used to playing these things a little more American style. And, I'm not gonna lie. They're working out better than I expected. Quit saying I'm not gonna lie. Stop it. You're not allowed anymore. That's your limit of not gonna lie for the rest of the video. From here on out, find something creative to say. But yeah, we're gonna push over to the left side. You can see we've got two destroyers here. Our Gdańsk is immediately rushing towards mid, which I don't hate. Of all of the ships that could potentially go up mid, Gdańsk is probably one of the better choices. It's very, very good. It's tanky bow in. It also has those torpedoes. So it's not the worst. Plus, it's very inaccurate at range. So getting up close and personal, not the worst choice. So, with that being said, we are now on this left side. You can see I'm kind of posting up. I'm waiting for my destroyer ahead of me to spot. And you can see he gets Fuso spotted. Now here, I am 100% guaranteed to get spotted. Now, if you don't know how spotting works in this game, it goes by your mast, your conning tower, your front mast is the spotting point of your ship. If that is visible over top of an island and you pull the trigger, guess what? You're going to get spotted. So that's why we got detected initially, and that's why we're starting to speed back up. Now, we don't have propulsion mod, keep that in mind. We do not use propulsion mod on our ships most of the time. I like to have steering, so keep that in mind. Now, we've got a fire early on this Fuso. You can see we're getting a lot of shatters, but we're also getting some pins. So, Fuso's not the most heavily armored ship in the game. So, getting some penetration on him is not unusual. Plus, we're trying to hit the superstructure. Not that it has much of a superstructure, just has that gigantic hotel on the front. But, yeah, you can see if we're not hitting the superstructure, we're not getting much in the way of damage. So, you can see I do decide to try to test the AP. Now, at this range, not going to get very much effect out of the AP, unfortunately. Getting one full penetration per salvo is just not going to fly. I would much rather have the fire chance. There we get a little bit better, we get 2 overpins. But I would rather have the fire chance and get maybe shatters. But here you can see I'm holding my fire because I figure he's dead. There's no way he survives this, right? Wrong. He's going to eat these like a champ. Now, the Japanese battleships do have pretty good torpedo reduction, but I thought he was dead then. He's been burning up to that point, and thank God he held his damage control. Like, dude actually played that relatively well, but unfortunately for him, he's now got 3 people shooting at him with HE, and he is on a damage control cooldown. So he's gonna die here. He's trying to heal it back. He's trying to stay alive. He's doing the best job he can, considering he is the only person on his team that came over here. But up against 2 destroyers and a Russian light cruiser, and I get to use my smoke, use the smoke from the 2 destroyers. Like, this guy never had a chance. Now, he goes down. I immediately recognize that the right side of the map is falling. Our team has played a little conservatively on that side of the map and kind of black holed in the base. It's not a good option most of the time. However, we were so quickly able to wrap up this side that we can now flood back and help them. My destroyers are going to continue to push around this flank. I am going to take my firepower and go back and try to support the right side. And I think this is absolutely the best play for all of us involved. The destroyers pushing around, they have the concealment, they have the torpedoes, they can do all the things. And for me to get out of there and go back towards trying to help the right side, getting more firepower on that side to help with that push is always going to be a good thing. Getting my DPM out there is definitely going to be a good thing. So you can see I'm pushing back in. We have a Leander here, and the very first thing I do is switch over to AP. Now, I do not have very clear shots at this Leander. I'm not going to lie. God darn it, I did it again. All right, you guys come up with a punishment for me. I'm telling you right now. Leave a comment down in the comment section of what you think my punishment should be for breaking my own rule that I made like literally 2 minutes ago. And we will make a vote. We will make a community post on the best punishment, and we will go with that. All right? Go with it. It's going to be fun. Make it a fun punishment, though. It's got to be, I mean, it's a punishment, but make it a fun punishment, all right? But we're going to go ahead and keep shooting at this Leander, and Leander, we're just overpinning. Even with 152mm guns and an angled Leander, we're still overpinning, not scoring any Citadel. That was 3 full penetrations, which is good. But you can see we are still able to lob this island, even if some of the shells go through that imaginary castle building on the edge of the island. But guess what? We have now pushed up close enough to be in range to sonar or radar this guy, so he doesn't even get to sit there. He's like, oh, I can get away, I can stay hidden. No, you can't. I got radar at tier 5. I know, it's disgusting. But we get one shot into the Leander. He starts freaking out going forward. My radar actually runs out, and because he freaked out and started going forward, he's now going to overrun his smoke and go right out in front of us, and guess what? That's not going to end well for you, Sunshine. Go back to port. All he had to do was stay still, and he'd have been fine. But because he freaked out, he loses. Now, obviously, we've got torpedoes coming through the middle. We've got a Tennessee right there thinking about coming through the middle. We know there's a destroyer in the mid. So we've got to pay attention to that. You can see I've already switched over to HE. I see the North Carolina. He's out of our range currently, but I go ahead, drop the torpedoes just in case he decides to push around the corner. And here you can see I am turning as hard as I can, and we almost took that torpedo, which would have been devastating. Taking a torpedo in a ship without torpedo protection is absolutely awful. You don't want to do it. But now we're going to go ahead and start our push through the middle. And I guess we can all go ahead and say it, right? In 3, 2, 1, special! I love Flambast, by the way. You guys know this. So getting a chance to go through the middle on Two Brothers, even if it's a delayed push, is so much fun. Like, I enjoy the crap out of going up the middle. It's a fun little challenge. And when we get to do it while these guys are all preoccupied, makes it even that much better. Now again, this is going to showcase the Budyonny in its strength. It also showcase paying attention to what's out there. We know there's a freaking Tennessee around the corner. I don't want to push out into that. There's also a Scharnhorst out there, plus the carrier, plus the 2 destroyers that are here. So I don't want to push out into that. Now Benham decides he wants to come back across. He's going to smoke up, and he is going to start dumping torps and shooting at our battleship from his smoke screen. But because we have fully pack active, we get our radar back much quicker. And we're going to catch this poor Benham with his pants down in his smoke screen. Hello, Benham. How you doing, buddy? You weren't expecting this, were you? As we take the majority of his health, the Gdańsk also shoots at him. He comes up short, and then we go ahead and shoot again to finish him off. And then we take a shot at the Shira, but as soon as we get ready to fire the guns, the Shira disappears, so we just place it where we think he was about to head. Probably not going to hit him, but if we can, that would be preferable. Now, obviously, lots of torpedoes coming in. We don't have our sonar back yet, so we're spotting these by proxy detection on the torpedoes and helping our battleship who's behind us pay attention to his torpedoes, getting a little bit of extra early warning for those torpedoes. Now, our battleship recognizes that I can't be the one to push out. And this is the huge part that I tell people all the time. You got to recognize your advantages. Knowing that there's a Tennessee over here and a Scharnhorst, I can't push out. If I do, I'm likely dead as we get a fire on the Scharnhorst. That's only our 4th fire of the entire game, guys. But the Gdańsk behind me realizes, hey, I'm in the perfect ship to push around, so look at him, full steam ahead. He is gone. He is not waiting around for an invitation. The man is on a mission. He's going to go out here. He's going to do the best he can to absolutely throw these guys in for the rest of the match. Now, remember, we still have the North Carolina pushing in behind us, so we have to have, like, a sense of urgency here. So the fact that this Gdańsk makes the play without hesitation, once those torpedoes passed, to go through and attack this Tennessee is huge. Now, you can see I'm measuring them up for torpedoes. You can see we don't have the range to hit him with torpedoes currently. Gdańsk does. And so he dumps his torpedoes early, which is not preferable, but is what it is. You can see I'm still measuring them up. We do end up taking a hit here from the Scharnhorst, but you can see we're getting some solid damage out of our AP as well. And we're going to go ahead. We're aiming for the upper plating or the bow side plating, and that's 7,000 damage. Imagine if you do that every 8 seconds. 7,000 damage every 8 seconds. That's huge DPM for the tier. Okay? Now, clearly the Shirot's over here on our right, so we're going to be able to dodge these torpedoes. We did take a hit from the Scharnhorst initially, but we have the Ranger in sight, so we've got our AP loaded. We know we can Citadel him, no problem. So we just got to hit the right place. You can see we get one Citadel there. Aiming a little bit higher this time, trying not to splash so many rounds into the water. We're going to try to get another shot on him, and that time we get overpins. So you can see it's a fine line between actually citadeling the man and getting overpins. Like, it really is, even with 152mm guns. But we get a better salvo this time, and we get a nice little chunk off of him. We're going to get one more shot at him before he disappears behind the island for us. And you can see I'm already lining up my strike on the Scharnhorst. This Scharnhorst has let himself get too comfortable behind this island, thinking he could get away with it. He has unknowingly put himself in position to be absolutely shredded by my quintuple launcher. And you can see he's slowing down to reverse, so we launch behind, and all 5 of my torpedoes scrape past the island in the perfect position to absolutely wreck him. And we managed to slow down, turn in, and avoid all of his torpedoes. He did get a shot on us, but he didn't Citadel us, and that's why we live, and that's why he dies. Remember, these torpedoes are nasty if you get to use them. Landing 4 torpedoes was enough to completely dev strike a Scharnhorst, which is a tier 6 battleship and a tier 5 cruiser. I'll take that. Then, of course, we got our last radar, so we get a chance to shoot at this Shirot. And we take a shot at him initially. Come on, are we going to get him? He's turning towards us. We're going to take that shot, and beautiful. We catch him with 1 shell. We almost missed him, but we catch him with 1 shell and finish him off, finishing with 4 kills. If we could have killed that carrier with a good strike air for our last salvo, we would have actually gotten that win. But, or gotten that Kraken, which would have been the cherry on top for a fantastic Budyonny game. 113,000 damage, high cow, dev strike, not done by fires. Top of the leaderboard, 2,700 base XP, near enough. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to leave a comment with your idea of a punishment for me. And then we will take the top, and everybody vote on those. So upvote the ones you like. Then we'll take the top comments with punishments. We'll put it in a community post and let everybody vote on it to see what my punishment is. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.